Another month, another huge stack of books to get through. Happy February, everyone. Welcome back to my second channel. Welcome back to Jack in the Books. First and foremost, I have to tell you about this t-shirt that I'm wearing. It says Cleopatra and Frankenstein, which was one of my favorite books that I read last year. And the publishers reached out to me because this is coming out in paperback this week, I think. And I featured this book in my favorite books of 2022 list. And they were like, can we send you a t-shirt merchandise? And I said, hell yeah, you can. You absolutely can do that. I would love that. And I'm never taking it off ever again. So this is my new uniform. Thank you very much. Today, I wanted to talk you through all of the books that I would like to get through in February. Starting with, well, firstly, this book, A Horse at Night on Writing. This is by Amina Kane, whose books I really enjoy. I really like her writing style, and I've been trying to get back into writing because I took a little bit of time off from it. Like, I just needed to get some headspace and think and come up with some new ideas. And this is really helping me get back into the flow of like really being excited to write. I've got about 20 pages left of this. So technically this was a January read, but I want to finish it in Feb. And on a similar note, I have been listening to the audiobook of I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. I think that Casey McQuiston has a very easy reading style, and I like to listen to her books as audiobooks because that's kind of how I get most of my like romance book fix. I like something that's quite relaxing and easygoing to listen to when I go to like the gym, when I'm walking the dog, and that's kind of how I stay up to date on like trending books. So I need to finish that audiobook as well, and those are the two kind of books that I want to finish in February, but I started in January. And now, as the sun keeps coming in and out, this is like gonna be the weirdest lighting in a video you've ever seen, but now I wanted to tell you about these books, which I'm gonna start and hopefully finish in February. So, starting with Les Enfants Terribles, which is a book that I just bought in Edinburgh, and I'm actually going to Paris tomorrow, maybe? The day after. And I wanted to take a French book with me. This has been translated from French. At home, Paul shares a private world with his sister Elizabeth, a world from which parents are tacitly excluded. Their enchanted room is where the game is played, the game being their own bizarre version of life. All that they do outside is effectively controlled by the rules of the game. Unfortunately, the rules of the game prescribe that the two children must die. Whoa, okay. How good does that sound? I thought this could be a good quick read for when I go to Paris. And also, if there's any Paris content you'd like me to film, let me know, because I'll be there for like 4 or 5 days. So let me know in the comment section. Hopefully this video will go live when I'm there. Next, we have another book that I bought in Edinburgh. Well, actually, my friend Dakota bought this for me in Edinburgh. This is a book that she really enjoyed. It's called Notes on an Execution. It's by Dania Kukafka, and this is the description. Ansel Packer is scheduled to die in 12 hours, but this is not his story. Ansel doesn't want to die. He wants to be celebrated, understood. Yet now he awaits the same fate he forced on those girls years ago. This is the story of the women who survive. As the clock ticks down, a mother, a sister, and a detective reckon with the choices that culminate in tragedy, the impact on those in its wake, and the possibility of redemption. I see. So I guess it's about someone who is about to be executed for a crime, and then instead of seeing his perspective, we're going to see from the perspective of people around him and his victims. That sounds super fascinating. I can't wait to read that. And I absolutely am going to this February. And we've only got 28 days this month, so we've got to get a wiggle on. Last month, I read like an insane person. I read like over 22 books, I think. So that's quite a lot of books to get through in 1 month. So we'll see how many I can read in February. Next we have Alone with You in the Ether. This is by Olivia Blake. You've heard me talk about this a lot on this channel, because I'm very excited to read it. This is the description. Two people meet in the Art Institute by chance. Prior to their encounter, he is a doctoral student. He manages his destructive thoughts with compulsive calculations about time travel. She is a bipolar counterfeit artist, undergoing court-ordered psychotherapy. By the end of the story, these things will still be true, but this is not a story about endings. For Reagan, people are predictable and tedious, including and perhaps especially herself. She copes with the dreariness of existence by living impulsively, sometimes imagining a new alternate timeline is created in the wake of every rash decision. To Aldo, the world feels disturbingly chaotic. He gets through work and life by erecting a wall of routines, a backbeat of rules and formulas that keep him going. Without them, the entire framework of his existence would collapse. For Regan and Aldo, life has involved resigning themselves to society's expectations, but Could 6 conversations with a stranger be the variable that disrupts the entire simulation? But before I jump into the next book, I just wanted to let you know that today's video is kindly brought to you by our friends over at Squarespace. Squarespace is the go-to website to head to when you are looking to build your online brand and create a website of your very own. They have a great range of templates and loads of really cool features, including its analytical features, which allow you to see what people who are viewing your website actually want to see more of. I'd also highly recommend using the blogging feature. Creating a blog is a really great way of giving an insight into what you're doing behind the scenes, as well as people getting to see the polished, refined version of you with the beautiful website that you've created. You can customize it, you can make it completely your own, you can make it scream you, and that's so important when trying to establish a brand identity. And if this all sounds like something that you're interested in, then you can head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then you can use my code JACKINTHEBOOKS at squarespace.com/JACKINTHEBOOKS to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. You lucky sausage! If you do end up creating a website, please send it to me. I would love to see it and see what you create. The opportunities really are endless, and who knows, making this website could completely change the trajectory of your business and your life. So yeah, take this as your sign to go and do it. And thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Next up, we have Hearts and Bones. I'm going to I'm going to Dublin later this week, and I'm coming back from Paris and going straight to Dublin. And so I wanted to read a book by an Irish author. I'm really trying to make an effort to read books by people from the places that I travel to. And so this is Hearts and Bones, a book about relationships, exploring what love does to us and how we survive it. A young woman learns to wield her power, leaving casualties in her wake, while a man from a small town finds solace in a strange new hobby. A watchful child feels a breaking point approach as her mother struggles to keep her life on track, and another daughter steps onto a stage while her family and the audience hope that she is strong enough now to take on the world. First-time lovers make mistakes, brothers and sisters try to forgive one another, and parents struggle and fail and struggle again. Teenage souls are swayed by euphoric faith in a higher power, and then by devotion to desire, trapped between different notions of what might be true. Quiet revolutions take place in living rooms, on riverbanks, in packed pubs and empty churches, and years later we wonder why we ever did the things we did. Set between Ireland and London in the first 2 decades of this millennium, the stories in Hearts and Bones look at the changes that have torn through these times and ask who we are now that we've brought the old gods down. Witty, sharply observed, and deeply moving, these 10 stories announce an extraordinary new Irish literary talent. Hearts and Bones, and I'm going to read this when I'm in Ireland. Next, we have Losing the Plot. This is by Derek Owusu, and the blurb is this. Driven by a deep-seated desire to understand his mother's life before he was born, Derek Owusu offers a powerful imagining of her journey. As she moves from Ghana to the UK and navigates parenthood in a strange and often lonely environment, the effects of displacement are felt across generations. Told through the eyes of both mother and son, Losing the Plot is at once emotionally raw and playful, as Owusu experiments with form to piece together the immigrant experience and explore how the stories we share and tell ourselves are just as vital as the ones we don't. How brilliant does that sound? Also, I really love this cover design. It also says it won the Desmond Elliott Prize, so there you go. Next, we have a series of essays. In fact, my next 2 books are non-fiction books. Savage explores the sites of identity, trauma, gender, class, religion, the body in clear rhythmic prose. Rhythmic prose gets me going. Brilliant young writer Elena Savage explores the Portuguese police stations and Portland college campuses, suburban Melbourne libraries and wintry Berlin apartments. She circles back to scenes of crimes or near crimes, to lovers or near lovers, to turn over the stones, reread the paperwork, check the deeds, approach from another angle altogether. These essays traverse cities and spaces, bodies and histories, moving through forms and modes to find a closer kind of truth. Blueberries is ripe with acid, promise, and sweetness. What a description, damn. So yeah, these are essays concerning understanding, and I feel like they'll just be a thought-provoking thing to read this month. And then the final book that I am determined to read this month, of course there will be other things coming and going, but this is the final book that I specifically really want to read, and that is Empire Land by Satnam Sangera, How Imperialism Has Shaped Modern Britain. Lucid but never simplistic, entertaining but never frivolous, Empire Land takes a perfectly judged approach to its contentious but necessary subject, says Jonathan Coe. Empire explains why there are millions of Britons living around the world. Empire explains the feeling that we are exceptional and can go it alone when it comes to everything from Brexit to dealing with global pandemics. Empire explains our distrust of cleverness. Empire explains our particular brand of racism. Let's face it, imperialism is not something that can be erased with a few statues being torn down or a few institutions facing up to their dark pasts. It exists as a legacy in my very being and, more widely, explains nothing less than who we are as a nation. How interesting. I think it's going to be a fascinating exploration of British society and culture and history. And it's been on my TBR for the longest time, and it's also one of the books that I said, like, if I don't read it this year, then I have to unhaul it because it's getting absurd at this point. So Empire Land is another book I really desperately want to read this month. Thank you so much for watching this video. All the best. Stay in touch. Have a wonderful day. You can subscribe if you're new. You can give this video a like, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye!